loud. And okay, thank you, computer. Wonderful. Hey, everybody, welcome. Come on in. We got Greta. Greta, are you sitting on the floor? Yeah. Yeah, she is. We got John back. John's hair is still, I'm loving the lengths, man. Keep it up. Keep it going. Yes. Dina already sipping the latte. Hello, we love to see it. What is up? We got Dion. Great to have you. Welcome back. Hi, Liliana. Micah, I'm so happy to see you. Okay, we got Jamaica in the house. Welcome, Luke. What's up? Great to see you again. Everybody is back. It's so great. Okay, rock and roll. So here we go. Oh, the waiting room is still vibing. Okay, hi, everybody. Welcome to yet another Thursday. It's a Thursday night, evening, morning, and we're all just kind of like doing coffee or maybe a cocktail. I don't know. It's your Zoom square. My name is Siobhan. I am your host. I actually put my name today because our special guest was like, wait, what is your name? And I was like, that's a really good point. And he's Euro, so like he probably knows how to pronounce it, but in case y'all don't, my name is Siobhan, but it's pronounced Siobhan. It's an Irish name. It's very exciting. So I am here to guide you through your Zoom experience. I record this on the gallery mode because I like to look at your beautiful faces. However, if you want the speaker mode, you can just hover to your little top right corner and you will see the view and you can select all the people or some of the people, and that will be your viewer experience. To your left is your chat, and we are already popping. Okay, what's up? We got Michigan. We got a new iMac and a new camera angle for Bob. I love it. That's amazing. And everyone else loves it. Yes, Kansas City. Okay, I knew we had Missouri in the house. Wonderful. And it's hot tea today. Forgive me, I messed up. Vanessa, welcome. All right, we've got the UK. We've got people in a similar time zone to Rolf going on. That is excellent. Okay, welcome, welcome to my Zoom right. No, it's a mirror, so it's kind of my Zoom left. We've got David Goldberg, the CEO, sorry, we say Chief Edge Organizer. Chief Edge?
Officer.
Officer.
Yeah.
I'm really just on the ball today, you guys. Chief Edge Officer, good day, David Goldberg. How are you?
I am fine, Siobhan. How nice it is for you to write out your name for everyone. I think everyone knows your name anyway, at least anyone who's been on this call before. Siobhan, is this episode 34 today or 35?
This is episode 35. Rolf is giving us a beautiful number. I love the way the number 35 looks, you know? You know, there's that store called Forever 21, and my friend said that it should be called Forever 35. Do we agree in the Zoom today that that's a good number for us to relive? Maybe some of us haven't gotten there yet, looking at a really youthful looking Gettys on the bottom of my screen. You're not 35. David, are you well today?
I feel great. I wish I was 45 even, much less 35 or 21. I would take 45 in a heartbeat. Yeah, all's good. Yeah. And how are you, Siobhan? How is everyone else too?
Yeah.
You guys well? Thumbs up, thumbs down, everyone?
Yeah, you know what? If you do put a thumbs down, you are free to do that, and we'll just send you some extra love in the chat. David did just age himself, and you know, we love that. Oh my gosh, John, your teacup is so cute. That is so cute. It's so little. I love it. Okay. All right. So we got David. We got Siobhan with a phonetic pronunciation guide. Hello from Long Island. Hello, Canada. Great to have you. And to my, I was going to say, it's my mirror. So it's my Zoom right. I am so excited. I just met him 5 minutes ago. Maybe some of you all just met him this minute, like you were today years old, just like me when you got to meet him. We are very excited. This is our first time kind of having a guest of like this kind of other realm of voiceover that we haven't really talked about in our space yet because like we don't run these things. Someone who runs a very important thing that people have a lot of questions about and who joins us from the Netherlands, Holland, in fact, very special place. Maybe some of you have gotten to ride a bike there. I dream of riding a bike there. Rolf Veldman, good. It's evening, right? Is it evening over there?
It is evening. It's 7 p.m. So yeah, thanks for having me. It's my end of the day here.
Is your night good so far?
So far, so good. Yeah, it's my workday is almost done, which is still something I have to get used to. I just moved back to the Netherlands, so my team and most of my team members are in the Americas. So I sometimes have to work a bit late, but it's nice that my day is over. While for most people, they're still at their lunch break.
Hey, you know, the magic of Zoom, I know we live in a great panini and the panini is giving us all kinds of feels, but getting to spend time with people all over the world is a very exciting thing for me personally. And that my morning in Los Angeles, Rolf's evening in Holland is, we're still all up in here together. So Rolf runs this thing. I don't even know if I'm like saying that he runs this thing. I'm just vibe with you.
It's a thing. Yeah, it's definitely a thing. Yeah.
It's a thing that a lot of people know about. And a lot of people in our community have been like, what is this and how does it work? And David and I are like, we recommend you join it, you try it, and you just go with your flow, like what works for you. We are not going to tell you what works for you, but we can today very happily be able to answer all kinds of questions about Voice123. And Rolf, as the person who runs this thing, these are my professional terms, you guys. I know what I'm talking about.
No the lingo. Yeah.
I am wondering if you can start our day off, our hour off here by just telling us a little bit about who you are. Some guy from who is in Bogota, now in the Netherlands. You are actually from Holland. Am I right?
Yeah,
if you
right.
can, and tell me if I'm, oh yes, I love being right, you guys. And so if you can just tell us a little bit about, yeah, your origin stories, how you got into voiceover and how, and how you came about to be with Voice123.
Sure. No, again, thanks for having me. I can see there's already like 75 people here, so I'm a bit nervous, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, I'm calling from the Netherlands. I joined Voice123 as the CEO in 2018, but as many may know, that Voice123 has been around since 2003. It's like the first marketplace for voiceover, and that sounds already very cheesy because David and I were just talking about maybe it's not a pay-to-play, maybe it's more like casting, but in tech, like tech casting, and that's what Voice123 is. It's where voice actors and clients meet each other. It was always the vision of Voice123 to get rid of all middlemen. So our founders were Tanya Zapata and Alex Torrenegra, two Colombian Americans who lived in the US, founded a company because she was a voice actress and he was an engineer. And they felt, I keep paying all these photographers, agents, and I just want to have a different way of doing voiceover work. They created Voice123 to make sure that voice actors have direct relationships with clients. And out of that, we're here now 18 years later. But my story began a bit after that. I actually was trained as a historian, which when I graduated in 2011, which is already a decade ago, nobody was looking for historians. And there's hardly any job opening that says historian wanted unless you want to be a teacher. So I had multiple jobs from the entertainment industry and in bars, all the way to working for the government. And I met my then girlfriend, now wife, and we had saved up some money. And I decided to quit my job in 2015, travel, arrived in Colombia after a year, knew one person in Colombia who introduced me to one other person in Colombia that allowed us to work with Alex and Tanya, who I just mentioned. It's very happenstance that we're able to join that company. I worked with them for a couple of years. They basically introduced me to the voiceover industry, which was a very outside looking in weird place that I really took me long to get to know, but I feel that I finally understand it. But by 2018, they gave me the opportunity to run Voice123 as a CEO, and I've been doing that ever since. That's the shortest version of it.
Amazing. Okay, we love a TLDR kind of intro here. So so it was basically sort of a happenstance of like the kind of connects you knew that brought you to the universe and sort of running
Yeah.
the company.
Yeah, and Voice123 was a company that at that moment they were already a remote company. So basically how we've been working in the last year because of the pandemic, that's how Voice123 had been operating half and half for ever since its founding. And then in 2015 and 16, they basically wanted to make that more structural. So they looked for an expert, and I claimed to be an expert in that. And they believed me, thankfully. That's how I joined. And I helped them set up all these ways of working together in the company. And I Googled my way through that, but by the end, I made it, I guess. And based on that, I I basically got promoted to CEO later on.
You know, I think that's a great lesson for like beginners in the industry who are like, I'm not experienced. I don't really know. Like, just walk the walk. And
yeah, in the end, nobody knows what they're doing in any role. I think if David and I are going to claim they have the answers, I think we're mostly bluffing in half of those cases. They still wake up every day thinking, okay, what do we do next? I think just everybody just goes to start their day with the best intentions without any grand plan.
Just to give you a little insight on the pre-show, I think it was Rolf that was like, yeah, I make a lot of mistakes. And David was like, yeah, I have to. Okay. And then
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And two things, Rolf, it's funny because, well, I'll tell everyone in all of the conversations, Rolf, you and I have had over the years, and there have been a lot of conversations. I never heard the history. I never heard your background with the company. You and I always talk about what's currently happening in the industry and moving forward in the industry. We have only had conversations from this point forward. We've never had that back. So it's really interesting to learn how you got in with Alex and everything. I haven't seen Alex in a few years. So I'd like to shoot out a hello to him. Interestingly, everyone may find this funny. I remember many years ago when I was sort of getting the voiceover portion of Edge Studio going, I also had to Google my way through things because clients would call up and say, hey, can you send us a file in like of this type, or, you know, it wasn't necessarily just waving AIFs, but there are lots of file types. And they would say, you know, can you provide this certain file? And I'd say, of course we can. Meanwhile, while I'm saying, of course we can, I'd be Googling away, like even learning what that is. So yeah, it's, you make your way sometimes. It's fun.
Yeah. Let's try to make it work.
Absolutely.
And I also want to, as we're doing our preliminary things, we've already got some kind of questions buzzing in the chat. And yes, for my new folks who have joined us for the first time, welcome, welcome. New folks who I am still admitting. Here we go. So the way this will work today is that we will drop any questions you've got into the chat, and I will fire them off to Rolf and David, and we will vibe. But the first thing I want to just start us off with, because we are coming from, this is our first time having Rolf, and we have never spoken really. We haven't gotten to get in depth onto what this is. So Rolf, can you just tell us what is Voice123?
All right. Without explaining, well, I can explain part of the platform as well. It depends on how deep you want to go. But at its core, it's very simple that we have a huge database of voice actors that are either in their starting phase or in their very, very senior voice actors. We have voice actors all different stages in one side, and we have all these clients looking for voiceover actors on the other side. And what we've done is that we've built the technology to connect them, but to not be in the middle of it. So coming back to that original vision of Alex and Tanya, we always figured we need to be like facilitators, and we should not be operators of how you do the work as a voice actor with a client. That resulted in basically two technical applications. One is that clients can submit a project form where they say, okay, I have a project, I need 20 auditions, and I need it within the next 24 or 3 days or 2 hours, depending on the time frame. It has these requirements. This is my budget, or I don't have a budget yet. Like there's all these different options. This is what it's for. They submit that project form. We send it out to our voice actors in an order that is built by an algorithm. Why we have that order, we can go into that deeper later. But for now, that project form, people receive invitations to audition. Voice actors audition, and that's basically where it ends for Voice123, because after that, the client gets into contact with the voice actor and you take it from there. So we don't actually are in the booking, or we're not in the middle of it. It's all you managing that relationship. The second option is that you can create a profile on Voice123. We index it in such a way, in the same way that Google does it. We try to basically mimic Google and be the Google of voiceover, that whenever I look for, I want a person who sounds like Morgan Freeman, and I know that sounds like a stereotypical search term, still the most popular search term by far. So let's say I look for a person like Morgan Freeman, then we connect all the voice actors and we show them as a search result to the client, and again, they can contact the voice actor. So in essence, that's what Voice123 is. It's a marketplace for voice actors to show themselves to our clients, and for clients to find the voice actors, and they take it from there. Just recently, we added new features such as getting booked and getting paid through Voice123, but none of that is obligatory. It's all optional. In essence, that's what Voice123 is. And we were discussing with David, is that pay to play? Well, sort of, because in all essence, the more you pay, most likely the more invitations you get, but you can already access it for free. It's more that we found a way to do casting in a different way than the traditional agent model. Did that make sense?
I think it makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I mean, but Siobhan, you and I certainly know how that system works already, how the platform works. So let's take some questions from everyone else. Guys, send in your questions, or Siobhan, you're probably monitoring the chat already, right?
Yeah, so one of the first things I want to just bang out right away, because it's popping up a few times. Voice123 is different from voices.com. Yes or no, Rolf?
Very much yes. So yeah, it's a different company, different model. Actually, I came into Voice123 and we have this book of lessons, so a book of our history, and I think that's how it started, but it was like, this is our enemy, voices.com, and it's a bit unhealthy. I removed that since, because in the end, there's just so many platforms out there. We shouldn't have enemies. In the end, it's about creating work. But yeah, there's traditionally two big technical players, and that is voices.com and Voice123, and they're about the same size when it comes to voiceover work. They just have a different model.
They are a different model. They are two different websites, and we are not here to trash voices.com. So no. You guys can DM each other privately if you want to do that. But
well, no. I don't want anyone trashing anyone. We've run Edge Studio in the same manner, that we don't trash anyone. I mean, everyone has their place in the industry, and it's up to the end user to figure out where it is that they feel comfortable belonging. So yeah, no trashing, guys, in the chat, please.
No trashing in the chat, but we do we do have the opportunity to really get into Voices123. So we'll remove thoughts or questions about other casting websites at this point. So Jennifer Clark, it seems like first of all, I just want to say Liliana is here, and she's Colombian American, and she is jazzed to, got our Spanish speakers in the house.
Good.
Does Voice123 plan to allow VO talent to see who gave a thumbs up on their auditions?
Yeah, I think so. For those who don't know, we did a big migration to a new version because we kind of had to in 2018. We had this platform that was built in 2003. And so by the time I joined, I asked, okay, how does the platform work? And there was silence around the room because not everybody knew anymore, because it has been changed of staff for so many times that we sort of didn't know how our own platform worked. So we rebuilt it in 2018. One of the things that we didn't do correctly was also keep a statistics page or a stats page or insights page, whatever you want to call it. We didn't have that. We're building it now. And yes, that's coming back, where you can see how many, what kind of clients liked you, what kind of categories you're doing well in, how many times you were booked, if you're letting us know, etc., etc. We're trying to give more insights.
Amazing. We have a lot of mixed levels of experience in our sessions generally, including a lot of beginners. So my first question, just based on things I'm seeing with things in the chat, Rolf, would you say is Voice123 a good option for new talent? Let's say you've just recorded your demos, you're going out, you're trying to get out into the world. Is this a good place to kind of begin your journey?
Yes, but I wouldn't pay. So there's multiple platforms out there, and Voice123 might not be yours, and there's only a limited budget that people might have. So especially when you're started, I would start with a free account. I would optimize my profile to add as much audio as possible. So we have the concept of playlist instead of a demo, where you add multiple samples so that people can find you, and you can not audition to every job, but every now and then the job will go to standard members, as we call them in our platform, and you can at least get auditions under your belt, and you get exposed to what kind of work is on there. And if that is not for you, then I would race to maybe another place, find another way to do it. But it's a good way to slowly build up a portfolio of reels that you can turn into a demo later on if you want to. So I would start there. Recently, we're also with the booth, which is a new thing that we started, trying to build some educational content, because we realized in the last 10 to 15 years, we tried to be as far away from everything. We wanted to be facilitated, but we realized we first need to show our face more often, like I'm doing now. And second, there's all these insights about what voice buyers are looking for, or new trends or new things that are happening. So we want to show more of that information. That's why we started the booth, to share more of, okay, this is what client want in 2020 versus 2010. And this is a very, very fast growing segment of voice on Voice123. So our goal is to be more open on that. So there's more information there. If anything, use it as a knowledge bank if you don't find their work.
I think this is from Dina, who probably, I'm assuming, has a membership maybe, but she's, oh, maybe not. Okay, she's asking, what prevents clients from contacting us directly after that first job?
Nothing.
Okay.
So most of the time this happens, which is what investors and board members, in my opinion, don't like. They say this is what normally happens on Voice123. A client goes to Voice123. Let's say they do a series of auditions and they like, of course, David's audition best. They contact David and it turns into an email conversation. And for the next 10 years, they work with David. We never see that again. We only do that initial interaction, which I think is one of the benefits of Voice123, that you get to manage that own relationship. We don't close it off, or we cannot, we don't hide anything there. And you're managing the relationship.
Awesome. Okay, we love that. All right. I don't know. How do voice actors who do a range of character voices get selected by the algorithm? Is that a question that makes sense?
Yeah. Well, there's two algorithms. I'm going to answer it first from the obvious one, from the search one. So we have a search and contact. Yeah, let me actually show you. Can I share my screen? Do I have rights to that? Or you prefer me not to do that? You're muted, Siobhan.
Sorry, I try to be polite. I think you've got rights. Do you see a share screen?
Yeah, I can.
Do it.
All right, so a quick share of the screen. Am I sharing the right one? Are you seeing the search, or am I sharing my email? Always scary, this search, I guess. I see.
You've got it. Yeah.
You've got it. All right. So here you can see what our clients are doing. These are the top 5 most popular searches at this moment. Here clients can filter based if they really want to have a child voice, or I want to have a specific language. Here they can set more filters. And let's say they go for Tricia, which I'm going to scroll down because there's some admin information. But what Tricia should be doing is adding as much samples as possible with the different characters that she has. Sometimes maybe even twice the same audio file, but named slightly different. Because whenever a person is going to search for commercial, the system is going to find this. Whenever a person is going to search for a specific gaming, this is a gaming option. Oh, these are all demos. Would love if I had prepared for this and had the perfect example. But let's say you do a Hyundai commercial, you write it down as a Hyundai commercial, and that's how you get found on the platform. So whatever you've done in the past, or whatever you have done in any mock situation, try to put as many audio files as possible here, name them, and that's how you get found on the search. That's the simplest algorithm, because that basically looks for the most relevant one and then orders them.
So Rolf, let me ask you a follow-up question. So I've advised voice actors throughout the years that when they title their samples, demos or samples, it's more important, I've always said, it's more important to title those files with a word that describes the vocal type rather than the client name. So if a voice actor, for example, records a commercial for Hyundai, they could either call it Hyundai commercial, or they could call it character voice, dialogue, or warm voice, or something of the sort. What do you find is more helpful on your platform?
So, and I think my engineers are going to disagree with me because they don't want me to share this so much, but I think the best way to do it is to do both. So in one case, you're going to say this is a Hyundai commercial because people are also going to look for Hyundai. The other person might say, okay, it's a conversational read. Then you upload the same file again and you do conversational. Then you're set for both. So that's why we moved away from the concept of a demo reel, because we realized that's not how our clients, at least on Voice123, like outside of Voice123, is a whole new world. But in Voice123, people don't listen to demos. They have something in their mind and they want to hear something similar, and they notice that in the first 5 seconds. So what you need to do is make sure that the file that you have or the audio that you've recorded is connected to the keyword that they have in their mind. And there's a section of people that looks for voiceover styles, and the other section is for recognition. It's for a reason that Morgan Freeman is still the most searched term, because people don't know how to describe, I need a warm, friendly voiceover, right? Which is what Morgan Freeman is. And so they just look for references. So, but those are people that are new to the industry. People more experienced will go for voice styles. So you need to cater to both.
Okay, so 2 things. A lot of our students will take their demos and we'll split up the segments on the demo into individual samples and post them, which I think is terrific. We've always advised that. Just a question about putting up a file twice, and it's funny that you disagree with your engineers. Is it possible, Rolf, that a client will listen to the voice actor samples and come across 2 that are the same and think, oh, that's weird? Like, could that in any way negatively affect the client, or is that it's still a positive thing?
That's unlikely to happen, because most likely you have a playlist that is called commercial, and you have a playlist that is called warm, and you have a playlist that is called conversational, and then I'll go through the playlist, right?
Terrific, thanks.
The second part of the algorithm, should I also, because I think that's where most of the question are. This is actually the easy one out, and that's the search and contact. But I wanted to also explain that that's connected to your profile. The other one is, okay, a client posts a project. Who are we going to give the invitations to, right? If we have about 400,000 voice actors in our platform, so we have to make a ranking somehow. First, we do it by what is required for the project, meaning if they look for a senior male or a teenager female, then we're going to go for those categories. There might be some geographical components. It needs to be in this area of New York. So that's already eliminating a lot of people, but it still leaves us with hundreds of thousands of people. What we then do is look at 2 things. One is from the auditions that you have submitted in the past, how many of those were received a positive review, which is a like in Voice123, by the client. The other part is what membership type do you have? So a standard member receives fewer invitations than a premium member in our case. But essentially, those are the 2 components that we have. How well do clients think your audition matches what they were requesting? And that is subjective. So that's problem number 1. And the other part is the membership. And allow me to go a bit deeper into the problem of subjectivity. So we don't know whether you get booked or not. We try not to be in the middle of that booking. We want you to handle that. So we have to go over the next best possible point. For us, that is, we realized that what we've built is clients want auditions, and we need to make sure that these auditions are relevant to the client, which is why we use a liking system that the clients can indicate to us, like this, like this, like this, and these are my top 5 from this group. That on its own in one project is not enough, but with hundreds of thousands of projects, with hundreds of thousands of people, that starts to make a shift. And that's how we determine, okay, these people are in the top 10, top 20, top 30, etc. Those are the 2 algorithms. I practiced this a lot and it's still confusing, I know.
No, thank you for taking the time. I have a couple of questions, which I think I know it is a very short answer to, but I just want to, clarity is the name of the game today. So, Rolf, does Voice123 review the voiceover before sending it out? Before it goes, yeah, they do not. Yeah, thought I figured the answer was no. And then I think I also know the answer to this, but Voice123 does work with VO actors who are new, and Rolf already explained the tier that he recommends, which is awesome. Do you provide access to recording equipment for those individuals who are new?
We do not. It's a good question. Would be great.
Would be great, but we only
meaning microphones, etc., and booths.
Yeah.
We're not doing that right now. Like I am trying to work on something where we at least can offer that at a highly discounted rate, because we have a lot of actors on our platform and a lot of clients. So I assume that people who, let's say, sell microphones might want to have access to that, and maybe the only way we give them access is by heavily discounting it. But in all honesty, we don't have a plan for that right now.
Correct. And so just to be clear from other questions that I'm seeing, you are recording from your home studios when you submit and upload things with Voice123.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. Fantastic. Just want to get that out of the way. And then, okay. So from John, I have a Voice123 premium membership, and I'm finding that more than 30% of my submissions have never been opened. Is this to
Yep.
be expected, or have I been unlucky?
No, it's part of that is expected. We have one of the problems that we have in Voice123 is that we send out too many invitations to projects, and then the client doesn't review all of them. And the second part is that this scenario happens a lot, and it's something that we're training the clients not to do in a second time. But imagine you submit a project and you request 25 auditions, you receive 25, you listen to the first one and you say, yes, that's the one I want to work with. And you're not listening to everybody else. That's unfair to the people who did that, and you shouldn't request so many auditions the next time. We make sure that those don't count towards any of the performance, but it is always going to be a possibility that people that are posting the projects might not listen to it.
Yeah, and that's hard. That's probably a difficult thing for you to manage, other than like requesting that they not request so many submissions from talent. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I can only imagine from the voice actor from your perspective, like I'm doing an audition and it's like it's into the empty void and nobody listens to it. That is awful. So I understand the problem.
It's kind of on the same subject. I love this. Rookie VO talent. How immaculate does an audition need to be? Is it possible that an unscrupulous client might swipe your immaculate audition and use it as a final copy, thus avoiding having to pay? Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah. So it's a well-known fear. We had one case of that in the 3 years that I've been here, and we track the client and make sure that is taken off. And we try to be the middleman there to make sure that the voice actor is compensated in any way, shape, or form. The fear is there, like, but it hardly ever happens. So it happens once during my time here. What was we actually had a watermark on top of it, and it was a beep, and it was super annoying. We're now trying to work on what is called a silent watermark, so that in case it happens, we can track if people use the file. What a lot of voice actors do is already do that themselves, some sort of watermarked version of their audio. But in all honesty, I would say that 99% of the people working in VO have good intentions, and we shouldn't build systems for the 1%. We should just look after the 1%, make sure that they get kicked off. But in 99 of 100 cases, that's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, let me piggyback on that. So a lot of voice actors have asked me over the years if whether or not they should watermark their files. I've always said no for a few reasons, which I'll go into in a moment. For those of you who are new to voiceover, I assume you know what the word watermark means, but let me explain the various ways that I've heard voice actors do it. And Rolf, I'm sure you're familiar with many more ways than I am. But I have heard voice actors tell me over the years that they will intentionally switch around a couple of phone numbers or words in the client script so the client can't possibly use it. Or they will switch around or change the website. You know, call this number or go to this website for more information, which may be in the tagline of the commercial. So yeah, the voice actor changes that around, or the voice actor will add a beep, or they will fade out in the middle of the audition for 2 seconds or 3 seconds. The voice actor will do something that essentially makes that recorded file unusable. I've always told voice actors not to do that because I think it's a lousy way, a horrible way to begin a relationship with a new client. You're beginning a relationship with a client saying, you know what, I don't trust you. We haven't even met yet, and I don't trust you. So the other thing I will always tell any voice actor, and Siobhan, Rolf, you may feel otherwise, and let me know if you do, but even if a client steals a file, okay, from you, maybe it happens. It probably, as you said, Rolf, it won't happen more than once, maybe twice in your career. But even if it does, it's just the cost of doing business. I don't think in any way it should um, turn you off from submitting auditions to clients who you are unfamiliar with. This is just, like I said, it's part of doing business. You know, people get ripped off. It happens. It's life. So just wanted to throw that in.
I agree that it's part of life, but you should still fight back when that happens, of course. But
Yeah,
you
of
shouldn't
course,
get
if you can
demotivated
fight back,
by it,
sure.
because it's going to be part of it. Yeah.
Right.
But what I do think is that it's an overstated problem, because when it happens, of course, it's big because it's a breach of so many rules within our industry. But I'm just happy that it doesn't happen that frequent. I think
Right.
the biggest problem in voiceover is not voice clients stealing audios, but it's voice clients just not knowing what industry they're in, and not understanding how rates work, not understanding how you communicate with an actor or vice versa. How do you define a brief? What is usage? Is a question that people don't even understand if they're booking a voiceover. Well, in most times, I think there are bigger problems for us to focus on than this one.
Agreed.
So I have some folks saying like, I get something from the free plan once every few months. Would you say that that's like standard? Is there something that we should be doing more if we're on the free plan? It sounds to me like some of your description of the free plan is like get the wheels spinning and start getting yourself like out there, because you are new and there's so much to do. So this is a great way to kind of like begin. But obviously, as you subscribe to higher tiers, things will, I don't know, it's a different.
Yeah, it's very clear that once you become a paying member, you receive way more invitations. But I think the important part for a starting member is that first, you kind of have to choose, besides, and maybe you have an agent or not, regardless of that, you're going to have to find some platform that works for you. Right? What I'm saying is try Voice123 free, so you don't have to commit to a year of that membership. And then if the type of job that goes through there you enjoy, or you think, okay, I can compete with that, then go for the paid option, and then you receive more invitations.
So on the subject of the algorithms, we got a lot of algorithmic prompts today. Can you explain the algorithm that comes up with a voice talent's ranking? For example, top 20%. And how does that ranking affect the number of and timing of auditions received?
Yeah, so that's the one that I mentioned before. That's the project, and then the invitation sent out. Top 10 or top 20 or top 30, whatever that is, only refers to that part of our platform. So it doesn't matter how many people contact you on your profile or share your profile or do anything related to your profile. That's unrelated. It's just the invitations and projects algorithm is what we call it. The how that works and is again the two factors. One is how many likes are you receiving over the auditions that you're submitting, and the other one is the membership that you have. Now, there's no fixed rule, meaning it's not okay, this membership equals this many invitations, because it depends on so many different variables. If you are a Dutch voice actor and you're operating in a Dutch market, by default, you're getting fewer invitations than other, and the group is smaller. So you're more likely to have a lower paying plan. You don't have, because there's not many Dutch voice actors potentially on Voice123. But in the US group, for example, there's a lot of US members on our platform. It's where most of the work happens. Even then, we cannot predict on an individual level how many invitations you're going to receive, because we cannot control what kind of work comes up next. So I know I'm being evasive of the answer. It's because there is no answer. I cannot say you're guaranteed 20 invitations at this time. It really depends on so many different things.
Awesome. I want to say hello to the folks who just dropped in for our second half here. We're like cruising right along, getting deep into Voice123. So the next question, there's kind of a few I want to try to roll in here, but so should we label our playlist according to ethnicity to improve search results? As you saw, there is one of the most searched terms is a Black actor, for example. It's the thing that we struggled with in our company when it comes to an algorithm. If we learn anything from Twitter and from other companies in tech, is that as soon as white people like me create algorithms, it's going to have a bias, right? And it has most likely have a negative effect. We want to make sure that we, as Voice123, are not trying to
create silos of people that they can only get work based on their ethnicity. But we also know that people are looking for to work with a specific ethnicity or a specific native accent when it comes to a job. So yes, putting it on your samples and putting it on your playlist will help you be discovered in that way, because that's what people will search for. And the other thing is that we realize we can do it the other way around for our project invitations. What I mean by that is, instead of us Voice123 determining you are natively Dutch, or you're originally from Brooklyn, or you're a Black actor, ethnicity and geographical components, we don't want to do that. We want the power of no. We want to give that to the actor. So what they can do is, I no longer want to receive invitations for projects that have this word. That's a new thing that we just added to our platform. And as soon as you can click on decline, you can say, it's not matching. I don't want to receive invitation with these keywords, for example. We're trying to do it the other way around, so that the company is not in control, but the voice actor is in control.
Appreciate that. For example, could you do like a character type, like Western guy, cool young dude? I certainly brand myself as like, millennial. Like I talk like a youthful millennial.
You should definitely put that in your samples. Yeah.
Yeah. Foreign regional accent, would you recommend as well?
Yeah. To put your range basically on the profile with as many variants as you can. Like there's actually we have a list. If you go Voice123 and then you type in keywords, if you type that in Google, then you can see the top 100 searched keywords on Voice123. And you can say, okay, is this relevant for me? Hey, I'm describing myself as easygoing or relaxed, but conversational is actually a really important one. Maybe I should rename those to conversational so people can find me.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Can you tag an audio file with multiple search terms, like essentially adding metadata for discoverability?
Yes, but we also made it so that not every sample gets all the keywords. I don't know whoever's been on Voice123 a bit longer, but in the previous profile, what people did is create a profile, call it, let's say, Rolf Veldman, and then put all possible words in the dictionary in that profile so that you get matched. We try to make it more accurate, so we reward, so to speak, relevancy. So it's better to just have one file that's really descriptive of what it is. In the end, you don't want to fool the client, right? The client is going to search for something, and if you have all the keywords there, including, let's say, it's a very warm voiceover and it's actually more of a promo thing, then the client's going to be disappointed. So try to make it accurate is my best advice.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, this goes back to lots of our conversations we have about branding yourself, and why working with coaches is great, because they can help you ID your quality of voice. And as I've told you, I didn't know that I sounded the way I sounded. I imagined myself sounding different. It's okay. So would you, Rolf, would you recommend, yeah, my joke is like, oh, I'm like a trained theater actor and I have this like alto voice. And everyone's like, no, you talk really like young and like kind of, you like don't sound like that. Okay, Shakespeare, it's not for me. So Rolf, would you recommend people uploading their raw edited files with no music onto like the playlist, like that are kind of not so produced? Would you recommend that?
It's a good question. Thinking from the client perspective, whatever sounds better is the one that I'm going to go for, I guess. It really depends on who you're targeting, right? So what maybe, I don't know how many people know this, but the majority of the people looking for voiceover work have no idea what it is. The trained eye, so they can be fooled by a heavily produced piece, right? But the trained ears, they will prefer the more raw file. So again, I would go for both. We struck all limitations of how many audio files you can add, just to be more relevant for the different kind of users. Because in the past, Voice123 has always been a one-size-fits-all approach, and we realize now that's quite dumb, because there's many different types of voice clients and voice actors in the world. So we need to be catering to all of them. And one person might go for the heavily produced file, and the other one might want to listen to the raw material. Go for both.
Just to clarify, and forgive me if I'm like in circles here, will the algorithm recognize keywords for character voices like Irish accent?
No, not right now. Not the invitations and projects. The search, yes. So put it on your profile because that's how people directly contact you. But for auditioning, not yet. Not yet.
Awesome. Okay, good. We love like just clear answers. Okay. The deadlines to submit with invitations on the free plan seem to be incredibly fast. Usually less than 1 day. Is this typical? I'm afraid
Yes.
to know the answer. Yeah.
Yeah. So the answer that the reason is that our free members basically get the invitations that are not being fulfilled fast enough by the other people. So, and that happens in two reasons. One, it's not a popular project and a lot of people has declined it. The other one is it's a project with a very fast deadline and the paying members are not fast enough to go for it. So that's why it's not, you get exposure as a free member, but there's also some annoyance to it.
Yeah. I know David knows a lot about, we need this cast today, please. And if you have an on-camera agent as well, that's really fun doing those on-camera tapes in an hour or so.
Yeah, I think let me throw it real fast. It is important for everyone to know that even outside of sites like Voice123, in our production department, for example, yeah, a lot of clients contact us with ridiculously quick turnaround times. We've had clients request more voiceover to be recorded by a human being in a certain amount of time than is even it's not physically possible to record 18 hours in 10-hour turnaround time. And it's crazy what we get. I'm not exaggerating that story. And I always will say, look, sometimes you just won't be available and that's okay. So, you skip some auditions. It's just the way things work. You can't be on 24/7. I also strongly encourage everyone that when you do audition, I think if you have multiple auditions and you have the time to record multiple auditions, instead of trying to record each audition quickly so you get them all done, maybe just choose the one or two that feel better to you that you think you could do a better job on, and research and think about it and do a better job on those auditions. That's what I've always thought. But Rolf, let me get your thoughts on that. So again, the story, a voice actor has enough time to record their 5 auditions that have come in that day, and they can crank through all 5 and get it done just in their allotted time. Or should they maybe not try to quickly get off all 5 recordings, maybe just do 2 and do a better job on those 2?
I think that's for the entire VO industry. Those are the 2 schools. One, it's a volume game, and the other one, it's a quality game. I'm from the quality type, and our platform is geared towards the quality one. We prefer you to do 3 instead of 10 auditions. If you do the 3 very well versus the 10, I might hit 1. So our whole algorithm is built that way, which is why the likes become important again. So I'm definitely of the school quality there. Yeah.
And will voice actors be dinged in any way if they don't submit every audition that comes in?
No.
Okay, I'm happy to hear that because I've heard that mentioned to me a few times, and I was surprised about that.
So by dinged, you mean get punished if they don't? If we send out an invitation and they don't submit?
Yeah, that they are somehow
No.
that they are somehow negatively affected, or their future rankings are negatively affected if they don't respond to every audition. So
no, because conceptually, this might sound weird, but we don't want to be super accurate in Voice123. Because if we're super accurate, that means that we've defined everybody to the nail who they are, and that we send everybody the perfect invitation, and that's not possible because voiceover is not building cars, right? There's not 4 types. There's so many different variations. Again, come back to the power of no. We prefer to send 10 invites and the voice actor refuses 7 and does 3, then that we send 3 invites and we might miss, or we send 2 invites in this example, and we might miss the one that might also be justified. So we actually encourage people to decline what doesn't match them. We prefer that the voice actor makes the decision, then we make the decision.
Okay, that's great. Thanks.
This is good, and it reflects back on previous conversations about your boundaries, your work time and off time. I know if anyone's like me, I super struggle with like knowing when I should stop, especially since the last 16 months. You're like you could always do another audition, and it's it's a lot. It's something to really think about how we stay healthy and like don't have to take every audition. And as Rolf said, you will not be punished. So stop punishing yourself. This is a
can I add a small thing to that?
Yeah.
That is the what basically clients want three things. They want, at least that's what our latest study shows. They want fast turnaround time. They want easy to work with. And easy to work with mostly means that you're responsive. And they want basic audio quality. So realize that the performance is not even mentioned in there, because for most people, they're already in awe with all of you, because their next level comparison is the person in the office doing the voiceover. No, that's not the case for big projects, of course, but VO, big projects, that's not where VO is. VO is in the middle section, right? Now, that ease of communication doesn't necessarily mean I have to be online all the time. You can also be responsive with an auto reply saying, I'm out, you can contact me again tomorrow at 8 a.m. I will see this message. It's all about just clarifying to the other person your availability, regardless of whether you're replying instantly. So if you, let's say you don't use Voice123, or you have your, let's say you do most of your work, you try to do it via your Gmail, and you want to protect your private life by not being always working, you can do that. Like send an auto reply as soon as you're off saying, I'll be back tomorrow at 8 a.m. If there is something urgent, do it via this phone or an extra line that you might have, but at least create some sanity in your life that you're not always online. Would be my recommendation.
So I know we're like suddenly, like we said, this is gonna fly by when you're having fun with with accents from the Netherlands in particular. But so so there's a great question that I'm afraid I have. Oh, here we go. This is one I really wanted to hit because I think it's interesting. Are there tiered plans for the clients as well, Rolf? So for example, are clients on more expensive plans that get matched with voice actors on more expensive plans?
No, clients use us for free.
Ooh, okay, cool. So there's really, it has nothing to do, your plan has nothing to do with the kinds of clients that you might be submitting to. Is that, am I saying that
No,
right?
your plan makes sense because let's say you're a free member versus you're a premium member that pays 395. Then the 395 plan, whenever we have to make a decision between those two people and they have all the other things the same, we would choose the person with the plan. So the plan does matter.
Okay, cool. So we're clear. All right. I think I know the answer to this one, and this might be if one can mimic famous people well, though I've heard here in the past that one should put your own voice out there as a priority, should one add that they can mimic a famous person as a playlist option?
Mimic is, I don't think, the right word, but if you sound similar to that person as your natural voice, then you should do that. Because those are two different things. It's a way to describe what you have to offer if you do sound like Morgan Freeman. If you can do Morgan Freeman as a mimicry or as a copy, then that's not what people are looking for when they're looking for Morgan Freeman, because then they go to the agency of Morgan Freeman. They're looking for a person that can sound like them more organically.
Mm-hmm. I think actually literally one of our coaches at Edge, Isa Diaz, his website I think says if Morgan Freeman and I think it's Will Smith, if they had a baby or something like that, he has like one of those things, and so
that's a perfect way to describe it. Yeah,
right?
Go for baby combinations.
And guys, there's also something to know. If you try to if you imitate a celebrity and you record something like that, the celebrity, I think legally could sue you because you are stealing their intellectual property. I don't know the exact legality around that, so this is not legal advice, but you do need to be very careful when you're dealing with mimicking or imitations and so on.
Yeah,
and they're very rarely used in the industry anyway. So.
And I think sort of drawing from references, in the film world, and when I'm editing a documentary and they tell you like, how do you describe it? And I'm like, okay, my movie is currently like, the Mr. Rogers, what is that? Well, like Good Morning, Mr. Rogers, I think it's called, meets like Running with Beto. It's like got these kinds of themes and vibes, and you can sort of describe yourself in from drawing from other places, but not like saying like, this is this, or I am I am Morgan. Yeah, like be and mimicking. I think you nailed it, Rolf. That's not the kind of place we want to be as we brand ourselves and our uniqueness. So I don't know. So okay, whoa, we're kind of like in the end here. Rolf, is there anything you want to say to just kind of wrap up? I know we've thrown so many questions your way. Is there anything you kind of want to just like tie a little bow? I'm kind of really putting you on the spot here.
No, I don't have any bows to tie, but I can imagine that my answers were not satisfactory to everybody, and there might be more questions. And if you promise not to share with everybody, then my email address is rolf@voice123.com, and we could just meet one-on-one. I'm not replying every day, but I'll reply, and then we can jump on a call and go through your individual process or your individual problem together. So I'm available if needed.
Wonderful. Oh, we love availability. And y'all, we appreciate you so much for joining us. David, any closing remarks here?
I want, as I say, asking me anything. I'm thankful for all of you for joining the community and showing your dedication to growing your business. I think it's terrific to be here. Siobhan, thank you as always. You do a terrific job of reading off questions, engaging us, keeping us sane, keeping us organized, keeping us to time, being that professional. So thank you as always. Rolf, great to hear from you again. Really was educational for me. I learned some new things, which is terrific, which I will be able to pass on to some of the voice actors who I consult with and train. And so thank you super much. So yeah, everyone, thank you. This was episode 35. Next time is 36. Wow.
It's
That's
so
exciting.
much. I know it's
Yeah.
really wild. So with our, for folks who are totally new here, or if you haven't taken advantage of this code, $25 off of coaching with any of our coaches using AMA, as well as David's coaching with David, and his specific link is there in the chat. I'm also dropping our foundation studies bundle. We've got folks doing all kinds of, getting into new things. We also, of course, recommend our investigate voiceover class, where we can talk about how to get you started and going. And we appreciate everybody's time. Honestly, Rolf, we really appreciate having you. It means so much, because to have you answer questions that we just like cannot answer for you and would never answer for you. But can I just get some jazz hands up, twinkles, for Rolf, our sort of silent applause for his presence and his time that he has contributed. This is all donated time from everybody. And we do this because we are just living in an unstable world, and we're here to kind of just connect and be together for this hour. So thank you for your presence. It's great. Howard, great to see you again. I'm just going back in my screens. Josephine is also here from Voice123. Great to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, and I'm seeing little applause. Hey, Kyle, I'm so glad you're back. Yeah, like on my other screens here. You guys are beautiful people, and we appreciate your time and energy. And David and I, just me and David, we shall be back when it's a different month, which is bananas. That's August 5th, okay? Same bat time for my Rocky Horror fans. And when is the social media class? Probably in August, or not August, in the fall. We'll do like seasonal, alternating seasons up in here. Bob, great to see you again. And Getty, it's always good to see you. My people, thank you for your time. Rolf, have a great evening. And Howard and all my folks abroad. And for my Californians, I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning. David, be well, and we'll see you all again very soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.